My name is Martin. I've been studying charisma and social skills for 3 years straight, and in today's video, if I were to lose all of my communication abilities, these 5 core principles I would be focusing on the most if I wanted to develop a strong sounding communication skills and a very present voice. The first thing that I would start with are the 3 most important practices. Let's get into them. The first thing that we need to do is to record a 5-minute video about ourselves. This video needs to be about some random topic and it cannot be planned. Because the idea here is to learn how to talk like a professional speaker and to show that you know how to think quickly and communicate your thoughts clearly on the spot. We need to be talking about something that either we know or we don't know. It doesn't really matter. The thing here is to just not have it planned and talk about something for just 5 minutes. After the video will be recorded, you need to not look at it. You just let the video sit there because at that day you will probably be very self-critical. So that's why we'll let the video stay and the next day you will open up the video. But you will not look at it. You will just listen. You will take your phone, you'll pull up the volume all the way up and you will put your phone face down like this. So you will not see how you look like, you will not see your body language, you will just hear what you were saying. And you will analyze what about your voice you don't like, what you like, and what should you change. That's the first principle. That is called the auditory review. Then after that will be over, you will hop onto a visual review. In that case, you'll put the volume all the way down so it will be on mute and you will just look at yourself. You will look how your body language works. Just look if your hand gestures are good, if your eye contact is clear, if your head movements are good or bad with your hand gestures also and your body language. You look at all of these things and then you will decide what you don't like and what you like and what you should improve on. And finally, the last thing I would do is to transcribe my entire video and leave the ums and ahs and the filler words present so I can see which one of these words I have messed up in and when I should have paused instead. And then I would take the entire paper and I would print it out so I can see it more clearly in the real world, not on the screen. And then I would take a red marker and highlight those ums, us, those filler words, and those words that don't add any value to the conversation. Credit to Vin Jiang for sharing this advice with people. Now, after that is done, we need to move to articulation. And when it comes to articulation, we need to be really opening our mouths more. Once a person wrote a comment onto my channel. Maybe I can find it, maybe I cannot find it, but he wrote that I should not overdo my mouth movements because that is not gonna help me. And in fact, I have to say he was completely wrong. This overdoing of your mouth movements will help you to become a 10, even a 100 times better speaker because the clarity can be heard more clearly and your listeners will now understand even better what you are saying. And that's why if your articulation sucks, we need to improve it by overdoing the mouth movements. It's gonna look a little bit weird at first, but you will get used to it. I want you to do this 5 minutes, 3 times a day. Maybe once you finish brushing your teeth, you can implement it in. Maybe after your dinner, you can implement it in. Maybe after you finish lunch, implement it in. So you also can combine it with a habit that you are already doing and just add this little habit in. And that is gonna just train you for you to opening your mouth more so people can understand you much more clearly. Imagine if I was talking to you like this. Hello, my name is Martin and in today's video I'm gonna show you how you can become one of the most impressive communicators. I am gonna show you 5 most important core principles how you can become a better communicator. Suddenly the powerful voice is gone. Suddenly you cannot hear me that properly and suddenly the articulation disappeared in a click of the fingers. And that's why we need to open our mouths more. I don't want you to go into conversations and be like, hello bro, nice to meet you, because that will be ridiculous. But just open your mouth more so that people can understand you. Especially people who have accents think that their accent is bad, but, a huge finger right here. If you think your accent is bad, you are mistaken. Your accent is beautiful. The only thing that you need to improve on is articulation. Because if you are, for example, meeting someone from the British country, they usually have a really bad articulation. But if we add high levels of articulation to the British accent, still you could hear me just fine, because I have the British accent right now, but I'm just talking like I would normally would. Maybe I've added a little bit of Texan accent to that. So either see, if you have the Indian accent, the Asian accent, the Australian accent, the British, the Texan, German, French, whatever it might be, you will still be perceived as a very good communicator if you just learn to articulate better. And I want you to just practice this 5 minutes every single day, at the morning, after the lunch, and after the dinner. And you will become a massively good communicator, because now your listeners will be able to understand you much better. Now let's move to third, and that is our body language. I'm gonna stand up right now so you can understand everything better. If you look here, right here, most people gesture below this line right here. Most people gesture like this, and that shows really low levels of confidence. But suddenly, if I go like this and I gesture like this, suddenly that makes you perceive me as much more confident, as a much bigger authority. And the reason for that is because people don't want to show a lot of their body if they are scared. And that's why they gesture down here. So you cannot even see my hands properly, you just see some wiggles down there. But if I go all the way up here, you now can see my hands much better. Also, when it comes to body language, you need to look a strong eye contact, but you have heard that advice millions and millions of times, so I don't think you need to hear from another guy that lock your eye contact, because that is just such common advice these days. I'm just mentioning it because you need to remember eye contact is still really powerful, and after eye contact I would also extremely focus on my body. People who are in the prey mindset usually are really jittery. They need to respond like this. That's how a prey would respond. If you imagine a zebra on the savannah, they're all scared, because if they see a lion they need to be quick. They need to react quickly, because if they don't react quickly, in the span of seconds, they will be dead. And there's a difference between a predator and between a prey. A prey body language is very jittery, very quick to respond. But someone who's really confident, that person is slow and knows how to be extremely chill with their body language if needed, and knows how to take pauses if needed also. After the body language, I would extremely focus on two most important things, and I'm gonna put these two things into one category because I don't want to waste your time doing more categories just to confuse you. So the first one will be the down talk. If your sentences end on a high pitch, like this, you'll be perceived extremely uncharismatic and also as extremely needy. And I am going to be working with one of my clients from India, and I'm gonna be teaching him communication skills. And I reviewed some of his videos, and he was always doing, "Hello, my name is this, nice to meet you," and that's making him extremely needy, and people perceive him as very unconfident. So that's why if you want to be perceived extremely confident, end your sentences on a down talk, like this. And I know this is extremely hard to train. That's why instead of you going high pitch, like this, and instead of going down here, like this, you will just end your sentences on a natural tone, like this. And then you will be perceived as extremely confident because a lot of people end on a high pitch, like this. And just to show you how of a crazy difference this does, "Hello, my name is Martin. What is your name?" Very needy. But what about this? "My name is Martin. What is your name?" Whoa, suddenly a huge shift in the atmosphere. But after you master down talking, now you need to express storytelling. And the way how I would practice storytelling if I were you, I would focus on three most important principles. You just don't need to become some crazy master storyteller right now. We just need to improve your communication skills as fast and as quickly as possible. And that's what I'm gonna do. First thing, every single start of the story needs to have a hook. If you are making a story, say something crazy. "Listen, bro, now I'm about to tell you one of the most emotional, one of the most saddest, one of the most depressed, one of the most wrathful stories I have ever went through." And now you hook people. That's the hook. You need to hook people like a fish. And the second of all, you need to state the location and what you were doing there. So after you say, "I'm gonna tell you one of the most craziest stories ever. Once I was waiting in a supermarket and I was buying some avocados. See, I have said where I was in the supermarket and I was buying some avocados. So you now know where I am and what I'm doing there. And finally, the third thing, you just need to learn how to captivate the viewers by emotion. Because if you don't know how to act your emotions out, you will be perceived not as a good storyteller. And the thing how I would implement this is not to look at this as deceiving people. You are just playing the character and how you felt at that moment. Displaying the emotion could go something like this. I'm gonna tell you one of the craziest stories ever. I was in a supermarket buying avocados, and then the cashier lady said, "Hey yo, would you like this cup of tea also?" I said, no, thank you very much, and I just left. That is a small display of emotions. You are acting out her voice in a different pitch and melody, and that gives depth to the characters. That gives the audience the understanding of how the character sounded like. So if you use that voice again, they would instantly know that, oh, that's the cashier lady from the supermarket. And that's how you incorporate emotion. And also a very good way how to implement emotion is by you slowing down and letting the moment sit in. One day I was in a forest and a huge bear came up to me. I got extremely scared and I started running. But suddenly I tripped and I couldn't get out because my foot was blocked by this huge tree. But the bear was coming. I heard his footsteps coming closer to me. But then suddenly, something that I would not even dream of happening happened. The cashier lady from the supermarket got my foot out of that fallen tree. And we escaped together. And I married her 3 days after that incident. You can see that was extremely unexpected, but I came up with that story on the spot. And by you pausing, that is gonna make people perceive you as an extremely good storyteller. But you also need to use your facial expressions to your advantage. I always keep saying that we men have fallen asleep on this. Because we were told that you have to be stoic, bro. You have to be not showing a lot of your emotions. But if you just smile and you know how to play your characters right, you know how to show the sadness inside your voice, you know how to show happiness and extreme joy inside your voice, you know how to show wrath and being extremely angry at someone that you are talking to. That is the power of storytelling and using some sadness inside your voice. But on the other hand, going into an extremely happy mood in the click of your fingers, and then switching to an extremely angry and wrathful mode right that instant. That is the power of emotions when it comes to storytelling. And the final point that I want to break down are the 5 most important principles when it comes to communication. The 5 vocal principles. Your voice is divided to 5 most important principles. Your volume, your rate of speech, your melody and pitch, your tonality, and your pauses. I have used every single one of these throughout this video, but I'm just gonna break them down for you so you can understand them even better. Your volume. High levels of volume can be used if the room that you are speaking to is very big. That is the perfect time to use high levels of volume because nobody would be able to understand you if you were talking like this in front of a lot of people. That's why we need to use higher levels of volume and we need to play a bigger version of ourselves. And after that, low levels of volume can be used for something like empathy. You can just place your hand onto a person and say, I understand you, bro. I completely understand what you are going through. And that shows a lot of empathy. And again, you are just one-on-one with that person, so you don't have to play a bigger version of yourself. Right after the volume, we have the rate of speech. Rate of speech can be used if you want to skip over some non-important details. In this case, if I'm telling a story, I might just go over some things really quickly just to skip over them and slow down my rate of speech. If something very important has happened. Suddenly that made you listen. But why is that? Because I slowed down my sentence. I'm just gonna skip really quickly over some non-important details and I'm gonna talk like Eminem, but suddenly, if something really important will happen, I will slow my rate of speech down. And that makes you think that this message is extremely important. But it's as important as every single one of the message inside this video. After we got the rate of speech out of the way, then we need to talk about melody and our pitch in our melody. This is the best use for telling jokes. If you want to make something very funny in the click of your fingers, just use high levels of pitch, like Mickey Mouse. Oh my god, that dog is pissing there, what the fuck? And it's gonna make everyone laugh in an instant because you have now suddenly changed your pitch of voice and nobody's gonna expect that. For example, one day I was on the beach and this man came up to me and he was very jacked. He was extremely big also. He had this huge six-pack and he looked really scary. And then he came up to me and his voice sounded like this. Hello bro, nice to meet you. That's gonna make someone laugh instantly because they have not expected the punchline. But on the other hand, what about the higher levels of pitch and melody? That can be used if you want to display authority and credibility. Because people, especially to men, they gravitate towards them because they have lower levels of pitch and they can express their masculine voice like I am doing it right now. And that's gonna show that you are really credible and you are using a lot of authority. After the pitch out of the way, let's move to tonality. And that is basically your facial expressions like this. If you cannot do what I have just done now, that is probably a big indicator that you need to work on your tonality. Because having to know your emotions like this will guarantee you the hearts of your listeners. Because especially, like I said, in the storytelling, that's when you need to use them the most. Because you are displaying the emotions of the characters that you are talking about. And finally, the last one are the pauses. And the pauses can be used to create tension. Pauses are really beneficial because of these three things. First, pauses will be used if you have nothing else to say next. Like now, I have just thought about what my next sentence is gonna be because I have given myself some time to think. If you have nothing else to say, use pauses. Second of all, it will also make your listeners listen. I was in a huge forest and suddenly this huge bear came up. Suddenly you are processing the information about the green forest and a huge bear, and that makes your listeners understand you much more. And finally, third, and this is one of the best ones, it will reduce your filler words. You will never say, you know, I guess, yeah. These non-value words will be completely eliminated from your speech if you just replace all of them with a strong pause. And because you got this far, I have a very special bonus for you. My name is Martin and I've been studying charisma and communication skills for 3 years straight. And I am the inventor of the social yin-yang. The light side is you being able to be charismatic, being to understand other people, listen towards their ideas and give compliments if needed. But on the dark side, you are being respected by other people. You will be assertive if needed and you will never have to wear this stupid mask to please other people ever again. You will also get access to a full community of people who are just like you, who want to learn charisma and communication skills. You get access to free one-on-one coaching with me, where I will become your one-on-one coach. And further of all, you get access to 30+ hours of courses made by me about charisma, communication skills, body language, storytelling, persuasion, listening, speaking, millions of different stuff. And even better, if in the next 3 months you will see no results whatsoever, I am gonna give you a free refund because I want you to succeed. And if you will not succeed, I don't want your money. So if you are interested in that, click the first link in the description. I will see you there. And if you are still not ready for some reason, you can click the second link in the description and I will hop with you on the free one-on-one call and I will help you to improve your charisma and communication. I will see you there as the second link in the description. And also, if you want to improve your charisma so hard that people are gonna be obsessed with you, you should click this video right here. Live a happy life.